Okay, in this story we have a car that's going 20 meters per second, and then the guy sees a traffic light, and after 0.530 seconds he applies the brakes and decelerates to 7 meters per second squared. So here's we have some of our values. So we actually have two situations. We have the first one where he has initial velocity of 20 meters per second, and after 0.530 seconds he applies the brakes. So for those first 0.530 seconds he's going at a constant rate of 20 meters per second. And then after that, he hits the brakes and he just starts decelerating at an average rate of 7 meters per second squared till he comes to rest. And the question is asking us to find what the total distance is that he travels. So in order to find the total distance, we have to know how far he went before he applied the brakes and how far he went before he came to a stop. So first we find out how far he went in the first 0.530 second using the average velocity equation is displacement over time. So we rearrange it so average velocity times time equal displacement. We plug in the value since the average velocity is 20 because his initial and final is 20, so the average is 20. It's constant and average are the same value. So he traveled 10.6 meters, and this is how far he traveled before he was even able to hit the brakes. Once he hit the brakes, he started to slow down, and using our average acceleration equation, which is equal to change of velocity over time, we can find out what his time was. Average velocity, change in velocity is v final minus v initial. The change in anything is the final minus the initial. So we can rearrange the equation. We get the following value: negative 7 meters per second squared is equal to 0 minus 20 meters per second divided by time. We rearrange the equation so we can solve for time, and we find out that the amount of time it took him to go from 20 meters per second to 0 is 2.86 seconds. Then using the time and the average velocity, we can find his displacement. The way we find his average velocity is we can use the average velocity equation v1 plus v2, or v initial plus v final over 2. And this equation only works if the acceleration is constant. If you don't have a constant acceleration, you can't rely on this equation. And this also goes with the big 5, which we'll be talking about next class. But since it's a constant acceleration, we can use the average velocity equation, which is 10 meters per second. And using the average velocity and time, we can find the displacement, which is 28.57 meters. So since the question asks what is the total distance from the moment he saw the light to the moment he came to a stop, the total distance is just the sum of those two distances, which makes our answer 39.17 meters. And that's it for that.